Okay, good afternoon, friends. We're going to speak today about a very sensitive topic. This is a topic, and I'm not one to shy away from controversial topics, but I've always refrained from speaking about this topic due to the sensitive nature. But finally this year I said, I'm just going to talk about it, come what may, and that is the sensitive topic of banging during Haman. What is this custom of banging during Haman? What is the reason for it? Today we're going to learn 5 reasons to bang during Haman, and what is the source of this custom. You may be surprised to learn that there is an opinion. It's brought in Shalsa Chuvas Mili de Avos, and actually this comes from a new sefer that I got. It's called Hilchos Charbu Darbu. Hilchos Charbu Darbu. It's about the halachos of Mechias Amalek and banging during Haman. It looks like a very interesting sefer. He brings from Shalsa Chuvas Mili de Avos of Rabbi Saul David Margolis Yafa, Talmud al-Chasam Sofer, who says that this minhag, it is impossible to say that it did not emanate from the Lishkas Hagazis. It had to emanate from the Sanhedrin in the times of the second Beis HaMikdash. So this is a very early custom that goes all the way back according to the Shaus Utshuvos Mili de Avos from the second Beis HaMikdash. Some say this minhag began in the times of Rashi. It's brought in the Symbolism Haleket in the name of Rashi, and in the Sefer Tanya Rabasi, authored by the Symbolism Haleket, that at the end of the Megillah, when they would say Ar Haman, they would stomp with their feet or clash 2 stones together, and that was, so to speak, the origins of this minhag. It's also mentioned in the Orchos Chaim of Lunel, the minhag of banging during Haman. What is the reason for it? What is the reason for banging during Haman? One reason given, Rav Isaac Tirna in Ois Nun Hey says the reason for the minhag. He says some say to bang during Haman to be mezalzel in his name based on the Yesod Shem Rishaim Yerkav. Shem Rishaim Yerkav. Also in the Sefer Matei Moshe, he brings many ramazim to this from the Rishonim. He said it was practiced in France and Provence, and for the reason of Shem Rishaim Yerkav. And there's even a siman in the Torah, V'haya im bin hakois harasha. When it talks about hitting, the Sefer Tevis, V'haya im bin is Haman. V'haya im bin Sefer Tevis Haman. So the reason for this would be Shem Rishaim Yerkav. I guess you could ask on this, if the reason is Shem Rishaim Yerkav, then why don't we bang when we read about Paroi? Why don't we bang when we read about Esav? Why Dafka Haman? So another reason for this minhag, besides Shem Rishaim Yerkav, is it's a kiyum of Timcha as Zecher Amalek. Timcha as Zecher Amalek. The Beis Yosef quotes so that from the Orchos Chaim of Lunel, and the Matei Moshe also brings it. The reason for it is not Shem Rishaim Yerkav. Then, like we asked, every Rasha you should bang for. The reason for it is Ki Machai Emcha as Zecher Amalek. Machai Emcha is Gematria Zeh Haman. Therefore, as a way of eradicating his memory, we bang for his name. It's said over in the name of Pinchas Karatzer that every mitzvah d'Rabbanan has a shirish in the Torah. There are many Hebrew words that have 2 meanings, and we try to fulfill both. Let's say the word tenufa can mean waving, and it can mean raising. That's why when we do tenufa, we do both. We do Melech Umevi, Malo Meirid. Why? Because the word tenufa can mean wave, mainif, and it could also mean like Melashon Mainif Benafa, so therefore we have to sift it. So in other words, not only do we wave it, we also sift it. So we do both. Or Yom Kippurim is a day of Mechila, so it could also mean dancing. So therefore, not only do we get kapara, but the Gemara says they would dance b'mechaylos uvekramim. The word timcha doesn't only mean to wipe out; it also means to hit. Like in Tachnan, we say mache umase. We say in Slichos, mache umase. God smites and He heals. So in order to fulfill the meaning of timcha, of hitting, we do that. Now you could ask, even according to this reason, that it's because of we're wiping out Amalek, why don't we bang when they lay in the word Amalek in the Chumash? So if it's Shem Risham Yerkav, you could bang by any Rasha. If it's Amalek, why do we only bang by Haman and not Amalek? By the way, according to the remez of the Matei Moshe, that it comes from Vahaya im bin Hakois Harasha, so if it tevois Haman, so the remez is Dafka Haman, not any other Rasha. Okay, so that's the second reason. By the way, we have a tradition from the Rishonim from Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, from the Sefer Asufos mi Talmidei Bal HaRekeach. He brings a hegemon, asks Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, why do you bang by Haman? He says that every time we bang, they bang him in Gehenna. So the hegemon asks, how do you know? So Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi showed him in Gehenna that every time we bang, they bang on Haman. So again, also in the Baal Shevet Musar, in the Sefer Medrash Eliyahu on Megillas Esther, he says he has a Kabbalah that when they say Ar Haman, or when they say his name and the name of his wife, and you hit, Hashem Hashem makes it that Haman feels our hits. Okay, so it basically harms Haman. So that's another aspect of it. But we're not going to say it's a separate reason. It's just a point of fact. This in the Sefer Kerem Ephraim, he brings another reason. We know the Ramban says that there's an idea of Poyal Dimyain, that if, let's say, Hashem wants a prophecy to come to fruition, so he has the Navi do an act, and the act is a pre-enactment of what's going to be fulfilled. So, for example, Hashem wants to bring about the downfall of Bavel, so Hashem tells Yirmiyah, drop a stone in the river, and Kacha Tishka Bavel, so will Bavel be sunk. And the Ramban uses this principle to explain Elisha, and he shot an arrow, and that represented an arrow of salvation to Aram. Okay, there are many such examples in the Chumash. The Ramban says that's the basis of Masei Avos Siman Labanim, that all the actions of our forefathers were a premonition, were a pre-enactment of what would happen to us. So likewise, we hit for Haman as a, so to speak, Payal Dimyon, that we should be Zoicha to wipe out Amalek. In other words, it's not that's the kiyum of wiping out Amalek, but rather we want to ultimately be able to wipe out Amalek. So by banging by Haman, it's like a Payal Dimyon that we should be Zoicha to destroy Amalek. By the way, the Baal Nesivos HaMishpat uses this principle in his commentary to the Megillah, on the Megillah Sisarim. He says that what's the reason why Haman made a gallows 50 amos tall? Because we know that there are 50 levels of Kedusha, and corresponding to that, 50 levels of Tumah. Therefore, Haman wanted to subdue the Kedusha tachas the Tumah, so he made an eitz gavaya chamishim ama. So he was using a payal dimyon. By making this tree 50 amos tall, he was basically demonstrating a payal dimyon to overcome the 50 levels of Kedusha. Another reason for banging by Haman is brought by the Chida and the Machzik Bracha, Siman Tafresh Peizayin Sivkatan Aleph. It's interesting, somebody told me, they had a baby on Yud Aleph Adar. So the yard side of the Chida, so I was very excited. I said, wow, the Chida's name was Chaim Yosef David Azulai. I was basically telling them that maybe they want to use that name, and I forgot that they had a girl. But, okay. Anyway, the Chida writes in Siman Tafresh Peizayin that what's the reason we bang by Haman? The Chida quotes the Sefer Kaf V'Naki. He says that it's basically a preventative measure, that throughout history there were many persecutions against the Jews, unless somebody would stand up and try to do what Haman did, so he would be, so to speak, warded off, knowing that Jews around the world will be cursing and banging at his name for the rest of history. So it's so to speak, a protection to ensure that nobody starts up with us like Haman. Okay. And finally, this is very interesting, in the Shal Teshuvos Pri Hasada, he brings that many people try to abolish the practice of banging by Haman. He says something very interesting. We know that Shiurei mitzvah ma'akfin es ha'paranias. The remnants of a mitzvah prevent punishment. Like smicha, tenufa, nanuim. Banging Haman, he says, even though it might not be a mitzvah gemura, it's included in Shiurei mitzvah, and therefore it's ma'akev paranias. And this minhag is legislated by the Rama in Siman Tafrei Tzadi, Sifiyat Zayin, Noagu hatinoikos lotzor tzuras Haman aleitzim abanim. It's the minhag of little girls to make pictures of Haman, or to write Haman and to bang. Miderach Machai Timcha Zecher Amalek V'Shem Risham Yerkav. So the Rama brings down both of these reasons. So there's a little bit of a background of this minhag Yisrael Kodesh.
Recording stopped.